The first level of investment is the level of investing into identifying what our brand is going to look like. And how you can determine that is through a brand guide, right? And people think, I could do that myself. That's cool if you understand colors. If you don't understand colors, you can't do it yourself. You're lying to yourself. That's not helpful. It doesn't help you. It doesn't help the people that you're trying to connect with. It doesn't help the potential clients that you're losing because your brand looks very ethnic and it won't be able to appeal to other people's brand if that's what you're trying to go for. If you're trying to have clients, you have to have a certain level of branding to your stuff, period. Yo, what's good, everybody? I told you guys I would do a strategy session with people. If those who commented would like help with their brand or website, I want to take some time out of my day to do that, and I want to do it live so that other people can learn from it. Y'all don't know who I am, DK Hammonds. Serving, leading, and connecting people to their destiny is what I do. I'm also the CEO of Amplify Social Media as well as DK Consults. So this is kind of in my wheelhouse. Kind of what both companies do is a brand or digital marketing, and which allows us to kind of help people with brand strategy, brand guides, websites, website development, things of that nature. We do all of that. And so I wanted to offer my time for those who may want it or need it. Share this with somebody who may need it. One of the things that I had the opportunity to kind of, help businesses with, companies with, is their branding. And usually people just instantly want to start out and start doing, oh, I need a website, I need a website. And that may be true, but you also need to understand how to set up your brand and what's important as it relates to that. You hear people talk about brand and brand and personal stuff is very different. So we want to make sure we disclose and make that different. So your personal brand looks a certain way. Your business brand looks a certain way. And so those things we need to clarify. And I think if I was to kind of tag this conversation, I would add the other element of how important it is to clarify your brand. What goes into that? What goes into the type of fonts you need to choose? What goes into the type of text that needs to be chosen? What goes into colors? All of these things matter as it relates to your brand. And if you can't determine that, it's going to be very hard for you to go build other things because you're going to always bring yourself back to this brand guide. Now, brand guide is like, it is like the most important thing. If I was creating something from scratch, I would create that brand guide. If I was asking somebody to build something for me, I would have a brand guide to give to them so they can use and they can go and build based on what's already been created and approved by you. So churches, people, whoever, you need that brand structure so you can understand how to use what you need to use. You gotta have that brand guide. All right. So what goes into a brand guide? First and foremost, we have logo that goes into your brand guide. And logo has to be created with a vertical and horizontal logo. And now you're starting to see people have patterns to give tapestry in the back end of your creation a little bit more character. So your logo needs to be one that is vertical like this and one that's sideways, that's horizontal like that. Also, what goes into your brand guide is your color palettes, which means these are the colors that support what you do and how it looks and how it is experienced. So many times hear people saying, oh, these are our colors, but they can't define why they chose them. Well, this allows us to define it. So if you're choosing something blue, that's a trusted color. If you're choosing something green, that's like a life color. Brown, growth color. Orange, energetic color. Red, passionate color. Yellow, another energy color. These things, these colors help us identify, and people can say, this is the brand that I want to be associated with through those colors. That is important for you, right? So primary logo, secondary logo. That's what goes into that. Color palettes. Usually a color palette is anywhere from 2 to 5 colors, or 2 to 4. You will probably have a white, a black, and then something else to support it. That makes the color palette. All right. Then you get into your fonts, and then that will get you started on what you can expect for your brand and or your website, more so your brand. So you got to have those things. You need a brand guide. Now, why is that important? So that when you're doing stuff, you have a level of consistency that people know that your business looks the same across every platform. Without that brand guide, you'll have some inconsistencies because people will be pulling from all over the place and don't have a clear understanding of what your brand is or who it is to impact. So you got to have that. All right. That's number one in the brand guide aspect. And if I had a secondary screen, next time I'll do it with a secondary screen. Okay, Brent, you said, I just like what you put out, man. Not many look like us and share the info. Yeah, I mean, I've been sharing the info with people. Some people will take it and use it. Some people are afraid that they're going to get invoiced. And you can't be afraid in this season that you're going to get invoiced, especially if you want to know how to do it at that level. There is a level that you will reach, that you want to be able to connect with people and people connect with you, especially if you're a business owner. You don't want to have 50, 11 fonts. It doesn't help you. You want to have 1 to 2 fonts that help you, that people can readily identify that this is your brand. So if I am starting out and I want to do a website, then automatically I'm looking at what type of brand guide do I have? Okay. What is my brand guide? That's the first thing we need to have people to help us do. The first level of investment is the level of investing into identifying what our brand is going to look like. And how you can determine that is through a brand guide, right? And people think, I could do that myself. That's cool if you understand colors. If you don't understand colors, you can't do it yourself. You're lying to yourself. That's not helpful. It doesn't help you. It doesn't help the people that you're trying to connect with. It doesn't help the potential clients that you're losing because your brand looks very ethnic and it won't be able to appeal to other people's brand if that's what you're trying to go for. If you're trying to have clients, you have to have a certain level of branding to your stuff. Period. So Brett, you gonna be my person today, man. Whatever question you can put in your website and the link below. I'll start with you and I'll just go through and tell you how you can improve what you got. No charge to you. Use it as you need to. And hopefully this will bless somebody or a couple of somebody. Welcome to what I would affectionately call this Coffee with DK or Open Office with DK, where we can just talk about how we can make our brands better. And this doesn't cost anything. This is something that I've been feeling passionate about this for a moment. And I was like, I can make people come to an office. I have an office set up in Dallas. I can make y'all come in Dallas and do all the things, or I can just jump online, turn on a button and do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this high level And those who want something more concentrated, I will meet with them later in a more, environment that can be focused, because I want to make sure we're taking care of you. So if y'all don't mind, huge favor, share this with the community that you're a part of, or share this with somebody who needs to see this. That's what I need done. Share this with somebody who needs to see this, hear this, who needs to have a conversation about what their brand looks like and how that brand can materialize or manifest money. All right, so what goes into, let's stay on brand guide, because there's elements to this that we can break down and have a conversation about. All right, so first thing, when we're talking about brand guide, I told you need to have 4 elements that go into, I got my camera right here, 4 elements that go into a brand guide. Number 1, primary, secondary logo. Primary, secondary logo go into a brand guide. Number 2, or we can say number 3, color palettes go into a brand guide. Number 4, fonts, and I would say 5 would be patterns and textures that will support that. I do it again. Primary, secondary logo. Your primary logo, oh, that's cool. Your primary logo is the logo that is centered usually. And that's cool. And they're put it in an SVG so it can be moved about on your page without gaining or adding pixelation to your logo design. Then you have a secondary logo that would have that logo in the center, and then your text to the right usually. This is the lateral one, right? Primary, secondary. Why is that important? There are some things that you're going to have that only require this one logo, right? And there's other things that you may have that require the other logo. You want to be able to have versatility when it comes to that. So now we're talking about how our logo looks, right? In our brand structure, how the logo looks. So important, right? And so you want to choose colors that speak to the vision, the strategy, as well as it's going to pull people into what God is doing through your business or through the marketplace or through your church, right? And that's how you can kind of get that going. So how do you pick a logo? Well, I'll take you through how I help people pick logos. I help people pick logos first by finding what logos speak to them. There may be another company that does something similar. And I'll say, show me that, right? And then we can start building elements that I see, like there's certain fonts, styles that may appeal to them, they may not appeal elsewhere, right? And then your logo, you have to also consider that your logo is going to be front facing. So it's going to be for clients to experience externally. All this stuff is external, right? That we're trying to get done. The brand guide is an internal piece, but it is experience external. So I want to make sure you guys have that and understand that there are certain elements. So let's say you have a car wash business like David Branch guy. Obviously, because he has a car wash business, he's going to have an element of water or a color of water in his logo, because the element of his business can speak right there, just in the logo, right? If you look at his logo, without me even looking at it before, I could already tell you that white, blue, and silver was going to be associated with that. Why? He washes cars. You don't want to have suds in there. That doesn't necessarily it looks fun, but not professional. You want something that looks good, strong, sturdy, that signifies, hey, you can get your car washed here, no problem. That's what you desire. And that's what I think his logo is attempting to do, right? And so when people see it, they see 4.0. Now, What he doesn't have is a horizontal logo that has like 4.0 and then the text to the right or the text to the left, right? So he can put that on business cards or whatever the case may be. So you need to have those two logos, a primary, secondary for your logo. You need to have a well-designed logo that you can put on websites. You guys are trying to, I'm not hating, but you're trying to create logos on clip art. Canva is a good place to start if you wanted to just have some ideas for logos. Go to Canva, use Canva. Now Canva has the other app that just came out, Affinity, that you can design actual logos there. Use those tools that's free to you usually to make a decision about what your brand is going to be and how it will be the experience, right? That's logo. We can go into the other scientific, all that other stuff, but I feel like that's another meeting for another time. But I think if you start there, get some examples of what you want to experience, knowing the ethos, vision of your business, and then taking those things and sitting with them and seeing, okay, what speaks to me and what also speaks to my client. That is what you would do to produce a logo usually. Then you have some meetings, some conversations, etc., that'll help you kind of navigate that. So if that's good and we're tracking, I'm gonna keep moving. Because again, this is just spontaneous. We ain't got to really wait. But if you got questions about brand, marketing, digital discipleship, website development, put them in the chat. I'll catch them because I want to make sure I'm able to support you guys. So many times, people make these requests and they don't offer support. I have an opportunity where I support churches from all over the country, and I want to be able to support those who can't afford it. So if you're looking for it, here's where you're going to find it. And then if those who want more after that, then we can have another meeting and do that. All right, cool. Question, Cameron Jackson. If you're doing something simple for a nonprofit, how should the website be structured? Oh man, it's a great question. I do these all day. If I'm doing something simple for a nonprofit, how should a website be structured? First, you want to have something in what's called the hero image. So now we're going to get into websites. Top of the website, at the very top is your header. Header is going to have the home, who we are, about us, our mission, contact us, ways to give, right? That's going to be on the very top. That's the first thing we want people to see when we're talking about a nonprofit, right? About your vision, about who you are, about your 501c3 status, potentially, and I think the last thing is contact and location. Those are the things you're going to need at that very, 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 very top going across is that. Then the next thing is going to be what's called a hero image, right? So your hero image usually is a carousel of photos, or it is a video of what your nonprofit provides. If you were to ask me personally, I would find a way to create a 30-second montage, collage, whatever the case may be, and do a video so that people can see exactly what your nonprofit is. So watch this. Before we even get down to the bottom, we have shown people who we are. We've put it in text, who we are. They can see who we are. They can read who we are before they even scroll down once. All right. Under that hero image, you're going to have stuff like a vision statement or a mission statement for your website, right? Use a powerful statement. Or you may have events that you want to have scroll past. You'll have that on under that. Then you may have like 3 additional boxes, whichever your preference is, that says, okay, here are the services we're providing, here's when we're meeting, here's our board, whatever the case may be. And then under that, the last thing is footer. Footer and the header are 2 of the most important things, because the footer is going to provide your address, your contact page, which is going to allow you to be searched via SEO, which is connected to Google, where you can create these backlinks and people can attach themselves to your business or whatever the case may be. A lot of people overlook that because a lot of businesses don't have addresses. Let me tell you, your business need to have an address. Your business needs to have an address. It needs to have an address, right? Why? Because people want to know where this business is located. So for instance, if you were trying to get money as a nonprofit and your nonprofit was in your home, it's going to be hard for you to get bread. Period, point blank. Why? Because they're not going to give you money to go home with. They're going to give you money to go into a business with. Right? So that's important. So if you jot down that structure again, let me give it to you. Number 1, it is the header at the top of the website. What is going into our headers? Some of us have our headers so cluttered with so many things, they need to be simplified. Because if we're honest, the website is not for internal use, it's for external use. Those people don't care about that kind of stuff. Only you do. Let's put up the information that goes there. So about us, about our board, about our mission, about our vision. What is it that we do? About us. Right? Then about the nonprofit, etc. About that. Ways to give. If you're a nonprofit, people can give. You got to tell them how they can give and how they can be tax exempt. Okay, all these things matter. Right? And then the header is going to compute to the SEO to tell exactly where your location is, who you are, etc. All those things need to be on the front of that website. All of them. Right? We're so inundated with trying to make the aesthetics look good that we're missing fundamental things that go into building out a website. Right? So if you're looking for a website and you're trying to build a website, then of course you're just trying to get something off the ground. They have things like Wix, Squarespace. They have everything inclusive, and all you got to do is add it or have somebody design it for you, and then you're ready to go. Right? And from there, if I am a nonprofit, I'm having a digital way to give. How can you be a nonprofit and nobody can give digitally? I'm having a PO box where people can send a check. How can you be a nonprofit and people can't give? These are very simple things that people will automatically be turned off on your website. Period, point blank. This gives us an opportunity to do that and to deliver something with clarity. Stop trying to be aesthetically dope all the time. A simple message is going to communicate and last longer. Here's the next thing. If you're building a nonprofit website, I told you about photos or a video. You need to have some imagery that is that's high resolution. Stop trying to pull stuff out of your phone. I think it's HENIC. Stop trying to go with that way. Stop trying to, create something here. Find something there and put it in high resolution so that when it is used, it is experienced and people can rock with it. They can see that you paid attention to detail. And that's what, for me, as a business owner and a person that does this at a high level, what I see is people who attempt to try to build websites and have no idea what goes into doing these types of things at a high level. They have no attention to detail. They can't see it. My team, we build these all the time. Some of your favorite people that you watch on social media, we've probably built their websites. That ain't to brag, that's to just tell you. And if you guys ever need a website to go look at, go look up mtmariahbaptist.net or .church. It's one of my clients. It's where I'm employed at. You can see what we've built over there. Very simple, very clean. Okay? Don't try to overdo it. Keep it simple and clean, because as you add, it's going to expand our experience. Average cost for a what? Website brand guide, what we talking about? For simple build. So simple build, 3 pages. Some people will charge you $1,000. Just off the muscle, they gonna hit you for $1,000. Now, what goes into that $1,000? I think what people see a website and they think that they can do it themselves, but it's a lot that go into that $1,000. Let me break down what goes into website build outs. 1, the gathering of information. So a person like me has to come into a place and find every piece of information that needs to go on this website. Right? And sometimes that information is not readily accessible. So then somebody has to create it. That's my team or you. Right? That's one thing that goes into it. Your domain. You have to buy a domain. Let's back up and do it anywhere. You have to buy a domain first. GoDaddy, HostGator, Bluehost, a myriad of others. Domain. Domain is digital real estate. This determines how people find you. Also, domain, if you're not careful, can be misused because what somebody will see is that you're popular and they'll go buy your domain, so you have to buy it from them because it's digital real estate. So your domain is your house, is the land in which your house exists. Then what's connected to the land which your house exists is the electricity, which is your hosting, web hosting. So you have domain, you have web hosting. And this is before we even build anything. Those 2 things have to be paid and turned on. Right? Then we have meetings about what this website is going to be developed as. Right? How we're going to develop it. So from the website, we're going to have what I like to call a sitemap. Again, this is what goes into your $1,000. You got to get domain, you got to get hosting. Somebody has to build the sitemap. How people are going to organize and find the very things that's on your website. What goes into your sitemap? So you got the about us, you got a connect page, if you got congregational care or about, ministry, whatever the case may be. We have to build that out and structure that so that we can then put that on your page. Now watch this. In building that and structure it, let's say you have 3 pages. So let's say with 3, you're going to have the front page, which is called usually a landing page, right? And the hope of that landing page for a nonprofit is to do 2 things: generate revenue, get email addresses. For sure. Generate revenue, get email addresses. That is what helps. So that's what goes into it. You got to have a sitemap. Watch this. This is before we even design. We have to go get all the information for the sitemap. Domain, hosting, site mapping, right? Capturing information and content, organizing information and content. And then now we're at a place where we potentially can build after we've had conversations and meetings with you. That is what goes into your $1,000. And I'm probably lowballing that, but that's exactly what goes into it. Right? So when somebody quotes you that, know there's a lot of back end work, and we haven't even got into connecting stuff, SEO, none of that. It's a lot of work they got to go into getting that built. Great question though. Appreciate that, Cam. if we have questions, I'm just going through the questions and I'm answering them, because I feel like our people, they want this stuff, but they don't have the education that goes into it. And I hope this provides some level of education and clarity that, yeah, you can build a website, but you need to have a brand. You need to have logos. You need to have fonts, colors before we even build. And even building requires something different, right? You need to have that too. And then once you build all of that, then you can get into your social media strategy, because everything will start looking very cohesive. Okay. So I hope that was helpful. I hope that was helpful. Hope that was good. Thank y'all for the questions. This is kind of what I want to develop. I want to develop people this way so they'll know and they won't get, burnt up by it. You'll understand exactly what you're getting yourselves into. I think, Kim, last thing you said, I'd like to know more about GoDaddy AI Content Builder and if that helps you with building content faster. No, it's not as advanced as it needs to be in terms of GoDaddy Content Builder. It won't do anything that ChatGPT can't do. You probably do better with getting ChatGPT versus GoDaddy, because GoDaddy is going to be associated with hosting and website development, and they're going to eventually charge you to use that service. So I wouldn't recommend that part of their service. In terms of content building, that may be a different conversation. I do know Church Communication is doing a 30-day. So go follow them on Facebook. But they're doing a 30-day challenge to give 30 days of content. If content is what you want to have a conversation about, we can do that. I can show you a client of mine and how we've built out their content, what they get per the week, so that you can develop it from a business perspective, so you can gain more followers, insights, you can gain more content, etc. All right. What 3 tips you may have regarding YouTube, especially routing people to that platform versus Facebook Live? Great question, man. Because I know your context, you're a church, you're a pastor, and if I'm a church and I'm a pastor, I am considering YouTube as a stream of income. Unfortunately, because of Facebook's rules on music and music alone, it is hard to consider that as a viable platform to be paid from, right? And so when I think of Facebook, YouTube, I think it's both and. A lot of our old school people, they're going to use Facebook. So most of these platforms have the ability to string to both, right? But if we're trying to use this as a stream of revenue for our church, then I'm paying more attention to Facebook, not Facebook, but YouTube, and guiding people over there slowly, right? So I think it's both. I don't think it's an and or. I do think you need both. Now, some churches like to run Instagram, but Instagram will flag you because, again, we're using music that we did not license. So we're going to get flagged. We don't get flagged for preaching somebody else's sermon. You will get flagged for somebody else's music. That's 100%. So 3 tips I may have regarding those 2. Number 1, first tip is how you set up your titles on both platforms. Again, I told you it's both, right? I'm going to tell you how to do it. Some of y'all are just saying, and please stop doing this for the love of God. We don't own the rights to this music. That's not going to stop them from cutting your video off. It's just not. It's a pointless thing. What you should do, and you might want to write this down. I promise you want to write this down. Here's what you should do. 1, in the title of the church, you need to have, in the title of the description, you need to have, the first thing is the church's name. Then you're going to have a bar in between that. Then what's next is whoever is preaching or the title, right? The title. I like title better. The title. Then the last thing is who's preaching. Name of church, title of message, who's preaching. In the description below, you want to take that same thing and put it in the description. Then you want to have maybe a quick highlight of what the message is in a paragraph form. Then you want to go ahead and add the various links, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, where people can follow, right? That's how you need to set up the descriptions. And why am I saying that? Because people are using what I just mentioned prior to versus what I just said, and they're not being found on the search or on the algorithm as it relates to that message. And the whole point is for someone to be able to watch that sermon at 12 o'clock at night or 3 o'clock in the morning or 6 o'clock in the afternoon and be able to find it easily. Well, if you put "we don't have on the rights," they ain't gonna be able to find that. Now, do you do that at the beginning of service? You can, or you can do it immediately after. But if you follow that method, people can readily find you. The searches, the SEO, all that kind of stuff will be easily accessible to people. So I gave you more than 3, but I'm personally trying to help churches build up their YouTubes. It may take a little bit more work, but in the end, you'll be able to make money off YouTube, off of the messages. You won't be able to make much money off of the Facebook off of the messages. So that would be my tidbits on why I would do that. And so the systems that will do that, you want to look at Restream, Resi, who else does it? I think Boxer or something like that does it, etc. And some of these platforms even allow you to stream on Apple and Roku, where you can stream directly into someone's house via an app. So you have all of those things accessible that way. Yeah, good question. Any other questions? This is real good, helpful. I could do this all day to just try to help people. No money required. If you feel like you've been blessed, help, definitely hit the Cash App. If not, it's cool. So we can continue this conversation. If I need to create a community just for this, I'm willing to do that, but I only want to have a small group of under 20 people so I can just really pour into them and help them get their stuff where it needs to go. That's the main thing for me. I don't have time for big groups. I've done that. I want to pour into the small ones that need the help. All right. Thank y'all for listening. I appreciate you. Peace.